up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going, Celtic Warrior Shane?
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to episode 1. That's right. You're here at Wrestling on the Rocks, your favorite dive bar. Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is our first show, because we will not hit our second show till we figure out the first one. That's not going to be today. I promise you that. Guys, you can find us at wrestlingontherocks.com, at WOTR the show. WOTR the show on Twitter. You could find us at Wrestling on the Rocks on Instagram. Did you mute that yet or no?
Yeah.
Is it muted? All right. Well, I mean, it is what it is. It's only the first episode. I don't know if they caught the echo or not. I heard it loud and clear. Guys, episode 1 takes place behind the scenes as well as up front. I am at Ref Marsh. With me today, as always, my tag team partner, the other half of the Ironics.
No.
Kev, Kev, go ahead.
I'm Kevlar on the Rocks with an X on Twitter. Find me there with an X.
What are they saying?
Yes, this is our first show. Door Chop and then Way Sketch. Third, Lee Moonlight's in there. Door Chop's asking about your haircut.
Boom. Here we go. A lot is happening, guys. If you guys want to be part of the chat and derail the show, definitely do that at twitch.tv/wrestlingontherocks. Yep. Guys, that's right. Door Chop is in the chat. He's correct. He's here. He's never here. Hollywood Dork Chop has made it back. Finally, Dork Chop has come back to Wrestling on the Rocks chat, and he's losing his mind because I got a little bit of a hair snip, a little snipperoony, little snippity snip. I pulled the old Daniel Bryan.
Hello.
Yep. I did donate like almost 2 feet worth of hair. I hadn't got my hair cut in almost 7 years, and I was like, well, new year, new me. March. Yeah. But yeah, I hadn't cut my hair in almost 7 years. They went ahead and measured it before we went going because I was like, look, I need at least 8 inches of good hair to donate. And the hairstylist was like, I don't feel like that's going to be a problem. But I was also like, well, I've gotten 0 trim, so the damage could be bad. Plus, I set my hair on fire about 2 weeks before, so that could also be potentially bad. I was... What?
Way Sketch said he donated his hair to make mullets.
Yeah. I made the request. I had it sent out to the Kids for Wigs for Kids, and I said, only children mullets. I only want Joe Dirts running around. They said, not a problem.
Joe Deer taste.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Yeah, it was like 20-something inches. Let's see. Dork Chop says, oh, yeah, he does, on his channel, he's doing UFC fights, and he made a bunch of people, and now he's like, well, I got to change your hairstyle on it. Which is also, to be honest, the hairstyle he had for the one that was me was grossly inaccurate. It was like a bob, man. It looked like one of the Brady girls. It was like a Bailey bob, but it was like more like Cameron Grimes kind of nappy. It was probably best just to redesign that one anyways.
Nailed it.
Yeah, nailed it. Dork Chop says it was the only long hair in the game. It might be. But I looked at it and I was like, you couldn't do braids or something? Do that spring break forever kind of a vibe? It's all good. It was really fun. It's really cool. I actually, in that UFC one, I won my first match. I farted right on a guy, got him to tap out. Sorry, that was a lot. It was a win. A win is a win. A W is a W. That's what I've learned living in Arizona. We take them where we can get them. Kev, what is in your glass?
Got some old proper number 12. Conor McGregor. Speaking of UFC.
that's
Nice
right.
segue. Yeah.
Fantastic segue. I am having, as I'll pour one right now, I'm going back because the boys are back in town, because it's back to the yous and me's. And as we started talking about in one of the other episodes, we're going to go back to Tuesdays being primarily me and Kev, the ironics, as it were.
No.
I'm doing it's the shirt. I'm designing it now. The Crown Royal, as was what we started with. I'm doing salted caramel because I long for the days when we can hang out and accidentally drink an entire bottle like we did in an early episode 1. Yo, Clump had a coworker. Yeah. Clump had a coworker he used to watch, and he went into work one day, and his coworker's all like, "Man, the show wasn't even that long, and they put away quite a bit there." Like, he said he was watching it, being like, "They're really running low." Yeah. Actually, there was one a couple weeks back. I was having a vodka that at one point, Lunar in the chat just goes, "Quick shout out to how much Marsh is putting away right now." And I looked at the bottle and I was like, "Oh shit." He was right. So,
because it goes down so smooth.
Yeah, smooth, baby. Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thank you guys for coming through, hanging out for our first show, and having a drink. If you're in the chat, let us know what you're drinking too. Dorkchop subscribing for 10 months. Man, he hasn't even been on for a year. It's crazy to think, because, and I don't say that in anything other than with as good as he is at what he does on his Twitch. I'm surprised he's been around for less than a year. That guy's fantastic. You guys should check him out. Dork_chop. On Twitch. He's Hollywood Dorkchop, I call him now, because he's a bit big to be in our chat, but he is tonight. And we appreciate that. And cheers to Dorkchop. What are you guys drinking in the chat? Kev, you want to talk about some news real quick? Anything else you wanted to cover before we get going? He said he's drinking proper number 12. And then you're not having a drink tonight, producer?
I will.
You will? All right. She wants the show to get going. Kev, anything before we hit some news? We only got a couple topics and we'll get right into it.
No. JJ Watt going to the Cardinals. That's about it. That's what I'm excited about.
I saw that, and I was going to message you and say, is this great news? Because some people seem pretty upset. Who's upset and why, Kev?
The haters. They're upset.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. The haters.
JJ Watt. I'm so mad.
Oh, yeah, see, he's mad in the chat. Dorkchop.
He said
Texans suck so bad, he says in the chat. Yeah, I like that too. So tell me who's mad. Well, I believe the technical term would be the haters.
The haters.
Yeah. What are the haters for 200, Alex? Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good player. He might be past his prime. Who knows? But I'm excited. I think he's going to have a breakout year. Comeback player of the year. I'm calling it now.
Oh, sort of like Tom Brady.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. He had kind of a breakout year this past year.
Finally.
Finally, this guy shows up for once.
Finally, he did something.
Yeah, I've been waiting on that guy. I was like, I've been hearing all these things about this young up-and-comer. Kev, speaking of coming back, speaking of breakout years, this could be the comeback year, breakout year for the NWA. That's correct. The Internet Wrestling Alliance. Wait. No. Circle back. National Wrestling Alliance. As my dig at them for being YouTube exclusive. Kev, we lost Kev's video?
Yeah.
All right.
I think I hear him.
I heard him. Kev, you still with
Yeah,
us?
I'm here. Yeah.
All right, well, your video's out.
All right, well, maybe we should put up a little splash screen of something. I don't know.
Okay.
If we lost him, we lost him. But either way, we can keep going. The NWA has announced they are back. They're coming back for a pay-per-view called Back in the Attack, I believe is what it says.
Really?
Yeah. Is that not what it was called? All right, I'll look up the official name right now. Kev, they are coming back. NWA is going to have a pay-per-view at the end of the month, March 21st, I believe.
Nice.
And they are going to be on Fight TV. It's going to be $20 Back for the Attack. That's what it is. I think I'm going to call it Back for the Attic.
From the attic.
Good call. Good call. Yeah, March 21st on Fight TV, live on pay-per-view. National Wrestling Alliance is back. As exciting as this is,
Yes.
I have reservations because they don't have a lot of talent left who are still unsigned, and they were traditionally using unsigned talent, and even the people they signed were pretty short-term wrestling contracts. I don't understand contracts, but I do understand time frames. So, as exciting as it is to see the NWA doing shows again, I do think that it's a bit weird to start with a pay-per-view and then follow it up with weeks of TV. You'd think if you've been off TV or even off YouTube or whatever it is you're going to be doing for as long as they have, which at this point is pretty close to a year, you'd think you'd want to lead in with the episodes to make someone want to buy a pay-per-view. Why am I going to get a $20 pay-per-view if literally the only thing I see is a graphic of the NWA logo saying, buy now? Like, who's there? Why? What am I paying for? You know what I mean?
Maybe it's just the intrigue of everything.
The what?
Because I mean, like, so maybe it's just the intrigue of them being back. I mean, AEW didn't have any shows. Well, I guess they had Being the Elite, but they kind of just jumped in it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They did start with a pay-per-view and then do their thing. Well, maybe they'll do more stuff. I mean, NWA pulled down most of their YouTube stuff, and it's going to be on... It does sound like Power is coming back to Fight TV, and that's going to also be a subscription thing, too. So, I don't know. I just feel like you're going to have a hard time selling this one without anybody knowing who or what or why any of this is happening just yet. You know what I mean? Especially if you're going to have a paywall either way. Because I get it. You got to make money. You got to make your money. I don't think that their pay-per-views that they had done during the pandemic were as successful as one would have hoped. But I think that if you're going to do the shows behind a paywall anyways, if Fight TV's doing a subscription-based episodic series, Power, just start with that because it's lower pay than starting with the higher pay and then saying, and now. I mean, it sounds like a $20 buy-in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the reasoning. Like I said, maybe the only thing I can think of is just the intrigue of them being back and, hey, you know, what do they have in store for us type of thing. And since it's only $20, it's not a $50 or $60 show.
That's
true.
true.
All right.
That's true. We do have show heat with Fight TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, we as a show, Fight TV followed us to get that follow back. We did the follow back. Then they stopped following us. Producer researched this because she was not having it.
I hate when people do that. It's my pet peeve.
That's internet pet peeve. The follow for the follow back and the unfollow for the numbers.
Yeah, especially on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah. And then she found out that a lot of people had complained about Fight TV going through and following a ton of people and then unfollowing them once they got followed.
Yeah.
So,
Dick move.
The old shamboozled.
Dork Chop brings up a good question here. He says, does the NWA have enough built-in fans left Does NWA have enough built-in fans left? Do they expect any of these numbers for a pay-per-view? I'm genuinely curious. I don't follow the NWA. Lunar says, this is why you never get my follow back. That's a good point. He just flat out won't follow people back. He gets followed. He goes, good. Enjoy the ride. I'm out. I agree. I don't know that NWA at this point has enough built-in fans. I mean, think about it even from our perspective. When they first came on, we weren't bought in immediately. We let it run for probably 5 or 6 weeks before we started watching it. We were captivated and kept watching it, but we had gotten attached to certain talent, and we even started doing a watch-along, which we called Happy Hour with 3 R's. I'm very proud of that. They... But we found that we were attached to certain talent, like Ricky Starks and Eli Drake and Eddie Kingston, Nick Aldis to a degree, Thunder Rosa majorly, We were into the Marty Scurll storyline with Nick Aldis. Like, we were into specific things. So now that all of that is off the table, I don't know if with all due respect, I don't know if Nick Aldis, Camille Brickhouse, and her the third member of that, what was that, Strictly Business with Tom Lorimer, I don't know if that's enough to make me go, yep, can't miss. Yeah. At this point, it's like, those three I know will do good work. Yeah. They always do good work. They're great. But I don't know if them alone is enough to carry me back in. So I don't know if I'm alone in that theory, especially if I'm watching my favorites all go onto larger platforms. I know NWA always wanted to be a starting ground. They wanted to be a launching pad, as it were. So congratulations, you did it. But it does now feel a little bit like a lesser than. Kev, do you have anything to weigh in about the NWA coming back?
No, I'm just curious more than anything. Like, you know, basically, like you said, like what's the pay-per-view going to consist of? You know, maybe
3 Iron Man matches.
Turn. Yeah.
Nick Aldis and mirrors.
Yeah, Nick Aldis will be fighting a mirror.
Nice. But
maybe we'll finally get Camille versus Joe Galley. That's possible.
Oh.
They had quite the rivalry.
Poor guy.
But I'm just trying to think of who else is currently unsigned that they might throw some money at and say, hey, make an appearance on this pay-per-view.
Yeah, I wonder about that too. But I also wonder because with indies being what they are right now, it's a little harder to probably easier to get people to agree to come out, but probably a little harder to see who's really the ones you should be outshining, because that's what they had done before. They couldn't believe their luck getting guys like Eli Drake and James Storm and Homicide and Kingston, but they're all signed up now.
How many people are in Dark that we don't know about?
That's true. Most of Dark is unsigned, so they could really start scooping up some of them. And if NWA has this working relationship with AEW, maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe you see a lot of people from Dark getting their NWA storylines going. Who knows? I agree with Dork Chop, though, more than anything. More good wrestling is always better. I really hope they kill it. He says maybe Sammy Guevara shows up there since the Impact thing fell through. Maybe AEW returns a little bit of the favor NWA did for them, giving them Deeb, Rosa, and others who have appeared. Yeah, just kind of like what I was just saying. I'm hoping that maybe we see something like that. Some of the talent who you kind of wonder why they're not higher up. I mean, it sucks, but it's almost like I almost want Ricky Starks to kind of go back over there, because he was really being highlighted and showcased in a great way, where I feel like right now he's kind of like the last guy in a story that involves Sting, Darby Allin, and Taz. And I feel like everyone else is just like side players in this, And I think that that's a shame, because Ricky Starks is, I think, arguably one of the best they have. So I don't know. I agree. I think more wrestling the better, more NWA the better. But I don't know if I'm thinking I'm gonna throw $20 at this and just see what happens, because I'll be honest, after the primetime ones they did, where it was like pay-per-view, I waited to see what would happen on them to decide if I was gonna end up buying any of them to watch it. They were only $10. None of them put out anything that I was like, yep, I'm gonna go ahead and spend and watch that. Yeah. Not that I'm sure some of those matches were great, because you did have some fantastic talent on there, but nothing drew me in like I'm going to care enough, right? I've been saying for weeks and weeks of episode ones, I can see great wrestling matches every night of the week. Getting a great wrestling match is not the tough part anymore. I need a story to hook me in. I need something to compel me to care. They just didn't have any story going into any of those things that made me care that way. So I'm really hoping to get back to it and to get back to making me care, because that's what I want. Dork Chop says it. Omega challenges Aldis to continue his belt collector gimmick. That would sell a pay-per-view. I think it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've lost a lot of their backstage crew, so we'll see what even the product looks like at this point. They did make a special announcement. They're bringing back the Into the Fire song. Into the fire. So that's good news. Great news. One of the best songs. Let's see real quick. Moving on, because it sounds like you were just ready to move on. Yeah. We got 3 birthdays this week that I know about. Big E, Booker T, and Kyle O'Reilly. I didn't even make it rhyme, but it did. Happy birthday to all 3 of them. Cheers. Boom. Let's see. Nothing special on those. Big E is doing a really cool Kickstarter, so go follow him, find him on his socials, and find out about it. They're putting together a really cool animated series to educate kids. And it looks really exciting.
Yeah, we donated a part of that too, so we're funding.
Yep, we jumped in on that one. We jumped in on it, so you should too. Let's see. The other thing that I have news-wise before we get into Raw, and I don't have a lot to say about this, so I don't imagine you will either. It just made me laugh because of its absolute, utter stupidity. Joey Ryan tried to book another show under the guise of being for a women's charity amidst all of his attempts at getting legal battles with everyone of his accusers, and the only ones that weren't thrown out were the ones that the lawyers couldn't get to fast enough. So ultimately, it made me laugh that he's pulling some Scooby-Doo shit, trying to hide himself in this poster, looking like Where's Waldo, in this weird little corner with a whole bunch of people all around it. And everyone went, "What the fuck is that?" And people fucking called him out on it. Tony Khan even tweeted about it saying, you can remove every single person who signed with me because they're not going to a show if Joey Ryan's on that show. And then someone else, I think it was Big Swole, tweeted out being like, this is actually his thing. It's not even for a women's charity. It's a lie. Yeah. And so ultimately, within hours of trying to book this show, he got shut down and everything was removed again. What do you think, Kev?
It's, I don't know, sad and pathetic, basically.
I know, dude. Fucking stop, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Poor guy.
Dork Chop
Move away.
Says, yeah. Get out of it. Dork Chop says, fuck Joey Ryan till the end of time. GR Lunar agrees and says, I'm so glad he got exposed. What a dickbag. Yeah, and I don't want to be the you heard it here first type, but I don't think we had a single episode in the beginning where I didn't question the validity of having a guy like that in the community. I tell you this, I'm a bit surprised the internet wrestling community was defending him so much up until the actual literal accusations came out, because I thought it was so creepy what he did in general. And I only say that because you can go back and listen in older episodes where I definitely said this guy is creepy and seems like a sex offender. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he is, and everyone's all like, how could this happen? And I'm all like, well, but either way, I'm glad he was exposed because it's shitty and awful. And I think that it's really weird he can't get the hint and just fucking disappear. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. You're too far in. You did too much stupid shit to beloved people of the indies. You're done for, man. You're done. Move on. So.
I'm not getting Kevlar's video back, just so you know. So I've got his drawing up.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's ever going to work on it or.
He's not going to be able to. Okay. Kev, you're still there with me, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So your video dropped, and I it's fine. We don't need to fiddle with that. We put up the animation of you on the screen, so you're looking good, man. Looking good, looking like a champ.
All right, sweet. I can take my pants off again.
Yep. Get them off. Let's see. So, although I do think the wording Dork Chop said, I'm so glad he got exposed.
Yeah. I had to look at the chat and see if he said dick bag or dick grab. I was confused.
Good point. Yeah. Phrasing. So glad that dude exposed himself. What? No. Yeah. What do you mean it like that? Well, Kev, let's get into it. Let's talk SmackDown. Let's talk Raw. Let's talk this week in WWE, or as Braun says it, double E.
You know, that was hilarious.
Dork Chop's got to go. He's Hollywood. Not enough time for us little peeps anymore. Dork Chop, go have fun. We'll see you later. Cheers, brother.
I feel honored you came back. Cheers.
Mm-hmm. I'm just glad he made the cameo. He's like our John Cena. You know what else? Yeah, how much do we owe him? Yeah, it's a cameo. One other thing I wanted to mention to you, Kev. Without Dork Chop in the chat, though, it's going to be a little bit bummer because I want to hear what he thinks. But Big Cass came back. Big Cass made an appearance at Impact looking absolutely jacked. and Enzo comes in there with him, just looking absolutely deplorable, just a disheveled sense of his former self, put on a ton of weight in just the middle area. And what's so funny to me is that people were posting this picture of Kaz and Enzo in the ring and retweeting it like crazy, and everyone was saying the same thing. Look at how great Kaz looks. So glad he's back. And then that's it. They didn't say anything else. And the picture has 2 people who returned. So in my mind, I was like, yo, Enzo's new gimmick is John Cena. No one sees him.
Nice.
Yeah. 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 Big Cass looks jacked AF. Enzo looks so bad. Lunar says, Dorktrip says no one likes Enzo. That's the funny bit. They're both standing in the ring. Everyone's retweeting. Look at Kaz. Look how good Kaz looks. Kaz is back. Kaz is back. And then you're all like, I think someone else was like, no one else. So glad for Kaz and no one else. Just Kaz. Only Kaz. Yeah. Enzo sporting that John Cena gimmick. And Dorkchop's correct. Happy Kaz looks clean and healthy more than anything. He put out a really cool tweet, too, about how he's really done a lot of self-reflection and trying to do better. And when you think about everything that happened to him when he was on his way out of the business as it happened, it wasn't like the stuff you saw in the Speaking Out stuff. This was more of a dude who was falling apart and being an asshole. So the idea that he could potentially get his mental health in a better position for him to return in a healthier environment is absolutely fantastic. So hopefully he stays on that wave. Hopefully he's talking to the old DDPY, I hope. Enzo, not the case. But we can talk about SmackDown if you have nothing else you want to say about that.
No, let's get. Let's hit up Friday Night SmackDown. Jump
Friday
into
night, it. Let's do it. Friday Night SmackDown. Here we go. Are you ready? Ready for a good time?
Nailed it.
Dude, I bet you thought I was just playing the actual song.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. There's no way you weren't fooled by that. There's just no way.
You got Siri going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Your HomePod is loud.
Yeah.
Kev, it opens up with Roman Reigns. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. I know he was talking some shit. And it was really good. And then Daniel Bryan comes out. Daniel Bryan comes out in Roman's face. He says, "You ain't shit. You's a little bitch." Calls him cowardly. Bitch. He says. Bitch. But he was able to get himself in a match where if he beat Jey Uso, which, by the way, Jey Uso's so good.
Mm-hmm.
He's still so good. I loved his little, just his 2-minute spat on the mic, throwing the mic right back into Daniel Bryan's chest. Like I said what I said, kind of a deal. So good. But it was culminating in that Daniel Bryan would get a match against Jey Uso, and if he won the match, Daniel Bryan would then get a match with Roman Reigns at Fastlane, and Edge goes over to Adam Pearce and goes, "We need to talk." Because he thought Daniel Bryan was cutting the line, but I don't know what the fuck he's going on about, because literally you won a match at WrestleMania, not the next title match. Get your head out of your ass, Edge. Get your head out of your ass.
You're still getting a title match no matter what. No matter who's the champion.
Yeah.
I think Pierce even said that.
Yeah, exactly.
Sit down, shut up, you're going to get a title shot.
Yeah. Damn it, Edge. Do you not listen to the commentary? You won a match at Mania. You didn't win the next title match, you dumbass. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I love Edge. But I did think that was funny. I did like that. As soon as he said it, too, and he goes, "We need to talk," he goes, "What, he gets to jump the line?" I was like, "What line? What are you talking? Your match is already booked. It's in the future. You're booked." Kev, what'd you think of all this?
Yeah, like you guys said, Jay did a great job. Daniel Bryan's, I thought it was cool that he kind of came out here and was like, "Hey, Roman, piece of shit. Like, you beat me when I was down. But that was obviously expected. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was all good. Got me excited for the match later on, and that's exactly what you want from a opening, promo.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I was thinking about it too, and I remember when you go back and watch any of the old Raws and stuff from like the Attitude Era, and I'm sure it happened in other eras too, but I think about like those things that really drew me in. I remember that the main event was so rarely advertised before the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it was always the opening segment that was going to set the tone for what this show was going to be about. And if you really watch the shows, there always was a storyline that wove through the entire episode. It really was a lot more like just typical episodic TV and a lot less like here's our matches in the order of which we want to watch them. And I feel like this week, SmackDown and Raw really did a great job of getting back to that root of not only is the opening segment going to be relevant, it's going to be the beginning of a common thread.
WWE would release, on Twitter or Instagram or whatever beforehand.
Yeah.
And it's like, even when they open the show and like, this is on our show tonight, it's like boom, 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 boom. People are going to decide whether or not they want to keep watching or just turn it off and be like, all right, this show's going to suck.
Yeah.
Or, so.
Yeah. Or these matches aren't matches I'm personally interested in, so why should I be interested in the show?
Yeah.
Which I do find to be a problem with some other shows too. There are shows where they'll just release an entire card of here's all the matches, and I go, oh, I don't need to watch then.
Yeah.
So I thought they did a good job with this. Let's see. Do you want to talk? We'll get back to it, but I thought they did a good job of setting that up. I thought Adam Pearce and Sonya and Edge all did a good job doing their whole thing. Let's see. I don't know what up was next, but I'll go through some of this list of stuff that I have here that happened. Let's see. Otis and Chad defeated Ray and Dominic. Otis, what do you think of Otis and Chad Gable in this Otis heel turn that we're seeing?
Yeah, they split him and Mandy up, which I wasn't really into anyways, but they put him with Gable, and I'm just like, ugh, this isn't going to be good.
Yeah.
And then now they're kind of getting my attention a little bit. I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah, Gable does not look as good in heels, so I hear ya.
He looks great in heels.
What? Well, because he was complaining that they pulled Mandy from the story and put in Gable, so I thought that's what he was talking about. This cut off shorts and heels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's otherwise the same story, is it not?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the swimming pool promo.
Yeah, we're going to get to that swimming pool and Chad Gable. I do like this weird puppet master kind of evil that is Chad Gable, where he's like this really positive, supportive evil. You know what I mean? Where he's all like, when are you going to get a chance to do this again? This is great. Oh, woo. And like being like weirdly happy and positive about doing evil things. And I was like, this is neat.
Gotta justify it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't mind Otis not catching on. I do feel bad for Tucker because... But at the same time, people said it from the beginning. Yeah, but everyone's been saying it since the beginning. They're like, oh, Otis is the star here. Tucker will disappear. I'm just waiting for Angela Dawkins to disappear.
It's because Tucker went to ASU. Nothing good comes out of ASU.
Come on, give it up.
Bear down, Arizona.
Yeah.
Bear down, red and blue. What? Well, we do what we do here. I did otherwise like the match, though. I mean, the Mysterios against Chad and Otis. I'm just
Chad and Gable?
Yeah, Chad and Gable and Otis.
You just pulled a Braun.
I did pull a Braun. Yeah, Adam and Pierce.
Yeah.
Definitely said that shit. Definitely said that shit. On double E, smack it downy, smack and down. Let's see. Apollo Crews defeated Shinsuke. So this was a lot here. So the talk of the internet by detractors, I will say, not people who watch the show, but people who pretend they're watching the show to shit on it, said, oh, so Apollo Crews comes out and suddenly he's Nigerian with a Nigerian accent, cuts a whole promo with a Nigerian accent all of a sudden. I was like, that's not at all what happened.
Yeah.
Matter of fact. Secondly, upon further research, because we weren't familiar with Apollo Crews prior to what we've seen him on the main roster, because we didn't see all the other stuff. He's actually is Nigerian. His mother's Nigerian, and his original gimmick name was it Oshu? Oshu Nation?
Oh, Nation.
Yeah, Nation. But it was his original last, or was his first name or last name?
His first name.
First name, which was like Ashu or Oshu. We're not saying it right, but I apologize. But it was the Nation. Apollo Crews. So Uha. Oh, Uha Nation is what it was called. So it was his last name. Yeah, Sesug Uha is what it looks like. But he originally used to wrestle as Uha Nation. Well, as he was talking about all this, he brings up his grandfather, and then at the end of it, he says, I want to say this exactly how my grandfather would have said it to you, and starts to then, in the final sentence of an otherwise like 6-minute promo, say it with a Nigerian accent like his grandfather would have, because his grandfather was Nigerian. I have heard some people say they want to see him go back to Uha Nation. I don't have a problem with that at all. I think that actually would be really cool for him, because it would be a whole new dynamic for him.
Be meaningful. Yeah.
Meaningful. Absolutely something you can get behind there. But I also think that a lot of people were acting like absolute idiots, saying, oh, so he just comes out with this thick Nigerian accent all of a sudden. That's not... You didn't listen to any of the fucking promo. What'd you think of all this?
I liked it. I liked it a lot, actually.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like him, you know, if people are upset about the Nigerian accent, if you're speaking another language, you know, like if you speak Spanish or Italian, you want to put the emphasis on the right vowels and stuff like that, so you sound correct or proper.
Yeah.
You know, so for everyone to sit there and say, oh, he's talking with a fake Nigerian accent, like cool it. He wasn't like, you know, all of a sudden, you know, like you said, the whole time talking in it. So for people to get hung up on that, people are stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I like the whole thing. Last week, and even I think, you know, a couple weeks before then, like I was kind of getting sick of Apollo and the Big E thing, and I'm like, you know, move on. Where's this gonna go? And then now with this, I'm like, all right, cool. Let's continue. Let's see more of it. It's adding a different dimension to his character that he hasn't had before, I think.
Absolutely.
And even his new look, his new ring gear,
Yep.
I think it looked all great.
Yeah, I feel like in that one promo, the depth of his character like tripled.
Yeah.
I mean, for how long have we just known him as Apollo Crews, incredible in-ring talent, nothing else?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought this gave him so much character, so much history, so much backstory. It made everything he's doing seem so much more personal. I loved it, man. I thought it was so cool. And I'm really excited to see where they go with it. Because like you said,
yeah,
this is just scratching the surface realistically.
Mm-hmm.
And I also agree. I think people are absolute idiots who are like, oh, so he's suddenly coming. No. So much so that when I read those tweets and stuff, I was like, oh, that's wild. And I even saw people talking about it in a group chat I'm in, and they're all like, oh, yep, he's just suddenly speaking with a Nigerian accent. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. He must have done that. When I'm actually watching the segment, I was like, when is this Nigerian accent going to happen? Because people were acting like it was the whole thing. And then when I find out that it was him at the very end in the last sentence quoting his grandfather and using maybe slang or the stuff
like
he was saying. It was like a dialect, but it was also like it sounded like not typical threats. You know what I mean? It sounded like probably something that was more cultural in the threat of it. I was all like, oh, this is way different. What are the fuck people talking about? So I think the people who were complaining in the group chat were just basing it off of stupid tweets they had seen and not actually seen it. Because I thought it was done fantastically. And then the match was incredible. Apollo and Shinsuke.
Yes.
Yep. I like Apollo calling himself the real African American.
That was funny.
Well. But I mean, realistically, right? If his family's actually from Nigeria, which they are, then yeah, that's a little more direct, right? But I mean, it's also a heel thing to say that you're more African American than someone else. I mean, that's probably gonna get a little bit of heat, but I don't know.
But that's the point of it. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
But
Let's see. What do you think of Tamina defeating Liv Morgan?
Loved it.
Loved it.
Love new Tamina.
Love Tamina. Kev, agree? Direct command.
I really wasn't interested in it. I was just like, eh. I mean, it's kind of cool to see Tamina actually, like, you know, getting a little bit of a push and some TV time because she's been with the company for so long. But the jobbers that are now the Riot Squad, I'm not interested in.
Yeah, but that's why I liked about it is because at this point, for whatever reason, the Riot Squad is just that now. They're just exactly back where they were before they even split. They're just kind of lower level talent, floundering. They're not shown as tough. So I thought that because there is a lot of fanfare behind them still, it was a cool way to get some heat with Tamina because she's beaten a fan favorite. They both look good. Tamina actually like basically barking at Ruby, freaking the shit out of her. Natalya staying out of the match on the side, but screaming and looking mean. I thought it was put together really well. I thought for what it is, the idea of adding a level of legitimacy to Tamina and Natalya as a team could be great. I mean, I've been saying it for a long time. I want to see Natty hold the tag titles at some point in her career. I think a team member like Tamina, who's built right, could definitely be believable in that regard.
Yeah, I just don't like that they've literally tagged Natalya up with pretty much everybody at this point in the past like 2 months.
Something's got to stick, man.
Yeah.
Which home run are you drinking? Lunar was asking in the chat.
Salted caramel.
Because he's extra salty.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm so salty today. That's why I'm so caramelly. I'm burnt. Yeah, you're welcome. So good. This one right here, Kev, you and me, we could have finished this whole bottle tonight. I'm moving through it.
I'm on my way.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know that's why the video cut because he's actually in the car now.
Yeah.
Is that a blink right here?
Yeah. You're drinking what? Hold on.
I agree. I do think that Natalya's gone through everyone as a tag partner, but we've been saying for a while that none of them felt quite right. And like, is this really what's going to do it? But I like about this one is this one feels right. This one feels good. This feels like it. This feels like two powerhouses with legacy behind them. There's a story here on why they could be a good team. With Lana and Natty, it was basically protege and teacher. This is legacy powerhouses here to make a statement. And all the stuff they've been doing on social media, I got to start sending you some of this. Natalya's been cutting a bunch of promos on social media, which have been great because it's kind of outside of what we expect from her to begin with. Just these great promos where it's consider them warned, where it's like, I'm tired of being walked over. I'm tired of building this entire division. I'm tired of being overlooked, and I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to start steamrolling every motherfucker it's in this building. It's been good.
I like when she gets real. Like, remember there was that moment where Natty and Asuka, we didn't know if there really was some heat.
Yeah,
Those moments Natty can really get into.
Yeah, Natty has a way of turning up the heat in a match where you just go, oh shit, Natty's pissed. But maybe she's not. Maybe she's not.
And Tamina, I mean, my favorite match with Tamina was her and Bailey. Made Tamina look like badass.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
keep with that. That'd be cool.
Yep. No problems for me on that one. I do understand people who are upset about the Riot Squad and the way they're being used, but I've accepted this as their fate, and I'll check back in with them in a year. I expect in a year's time we'll actually see a push on them. So we'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe or maybe not. I mean, they made that documentary. You'd think it would be for something. Yeah. Kev, anything else on that? I just feel like I'm driving this one.
Yeah, no. Like I said, I wasn't interested in this one really at all. So.
All right. Well, were you into the Street Profits versus Sammy and Corbin?
A little bit because of Sammy and Corbin.
Right? How good was that backstage segment?
That was great.
Yeah.
I just love Corbin the whole time. Quit filming me. Quit filming me.
Yeah. Stop.
Yeah.
Corbin has such a great way of like, I almost want to say like, he's like showing frustration in this like, why are you doing this? Like this kind of whiny, I'm a victim kind of thing without coming off overly whiny or like making himself the victim. He's got such a good balance of it. Like he did the same thing with when Mysterio's family was all beating the shit out of him, and he kept looking at the ref like, "Ref, stop it!
Come on!"
Yeah, guys. And at some point, like the mom gets in his face, and he literally turns around and goes, "What is happening? Like, why?" And he's doing the same thing with his camera crew. Guys, leave me alone.
Yeah, someone at the butt of your jokes.
What do you mean? What do you mean? You saying that's what's going on over there? You're trying to say that you're like Baron Corbin right now? Yeah, no, I wouldn't think so. Yeah. But I like that. I like, with the cameras being in his face in the backstage. I like Sammy being like, yeah, with my brains and your strength. Like,
Yeah.
I like Corbin agreeing, saying, of course we could dominate this whole thing, but I don't know if I want to do that,
Yeah.
Tell me what you thought about all of it.
Yeah, I mean, the backstage stuff was great. It led into the match, which, I don't know, I didn't like that they kept billing it as like a Street Profits great return or big return type of thing. I was like, they've been gone for what, 2 weeks, it feels like?
Yeah, that's what
Maybe
it seems
3.
like.
Yeah.
I think they've been
I
out of
wasn't
the ring
missing
for a
them.
while, though. I think there was a shoulder injury, actually, or a hand injury or some
Yeah.
shit. But they also stayed on screen in the backstage a lot, so I don't feel at all like we were missing them in that regard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's probably it. They were just on screen but not performing.
Yeah.
But for them to make this big deal about them, I just didn't like. I was excited that they finally lost the belts when they did, and then for them to be like, "Oh, look, they're back! They're back!" You know, there's already overshadowing the tag team champs as it is now again.
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, I mean, the match was good. Corbin was great. Sammy was great. Camera crew.
Yeah. Sammy's been on his social medias, like leaking information that's been getting recorded, and there's been really good ones. There was one where he was like back there being like, "I'm gonna try and get teamed with Baron Corbin," and he's like whispering to the thing, and Baron Corbin comes like walking and goes, "Oh, here he comes!" And someone's like, "Hey, Corby!" And he's like, we're gonna tag. It'll be good." And Corbin like just kind of looks over and goes, "Shut up, idiot!" And he's just like, and Sammy's like, he's just playing. He knows that the cameras are on him. He's playing it up. And he turns and like you just see Baron Corbin look over and he goes, "No, I'm not. Shut up, idiot!" Like, so good. They're all so good. Let's see. Seth Rollins and Cesaro did their face-to-face. Cesaro did a swing for about an hour. Seth Rollins is in there like, "Whoa!" because he's got the mic on his hand. He gets the jacket to fall off of him and wiggles it away. It was so good. I like that while he's sitting there, he's like, "No, don't," while he's in the fucking. It's so good, dude. What do you think of all this?
Yeah, I loved it. Like you said, with Seth holding the mic, I think it'd been better if he dropped the mic and every time he passed the mic, you heard "Oh, whoa." But yeah,
He's good enough. I bet you he could drop it in a corner. I bet if you told him, "Hey, it's got to end up in that corner," I bet you he's like, "Yeah, you got it, boss." You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see, where it's going from here, storyline wise.
Yeah. I'm not upset about the idea of getting a few Seth Rollins versus Cesaro matches, though. I'll tell you that right now. Doesn't bother me one bit. I want to see it go somewhere, though. I don't want it to just be a feud that Seth and Cesaro have, and then afterwards they just shake hands, go separate ways, and neither one of them are in a different position. You know what I mean? I want to see it elevate somebody.
Yeah.
So hopefully something else happens there. But again, not at all upset about the idea of seeing Seth Rollins and Cesaro in a fucking 45-minute match. I'll be honest.
No, I think it could lead to a great WrestleMania match.
Yeah,
even if it's
absolutely.
on like one of the kickoff shows for one of the days. Like, I think it'd be great.
Yeah, 100%. I think it could be amazing, and I think that it could steal the show that day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Speaking of WrestleMania, we've only got 2 matches left on this card. Let's talk about. Well, let's wrap up the show, and then we'll talk about. Well, let's just talk about Bianca. Bianca comes out. Fuck it. She comes out. Yeah, she starts doing her thing with Adam Pearce. Nearly hits Adam Pearce in the face with her braid.
Yeah.
And then let's see. So she's saying like, "Oh, it's a big deal. My grandma always said it's a big deal. It's a big deal, because it's a big deal." Reginald comes out to his own music. He starts saying, "Look, bitch, you don't know what you're in for." Sasha Banks comes out, says, "Reginald, quit being a little bitch," pushes him. And then Belair says, like, "Oh, I'm going to take on Sasha Banks because the EST is EST-er," I think. They both point to the sign. They take a picture. Everyone claps. Go ahead. What?
Yeah, that was awkward. I hated the sign point.
I, honest to God, felt like this whole segment was awkward, man.
Yeah. I think that was the culmination, the cherry on top, is that they sat there and pointed at the sign for 3 minutes after it ended just to get to commercial.
That's true. That's true. And they had the fireworks going up.
Yeah. And then Reginald, I still don't get his thing with Sasha. He has a crush, so cool. Where's Carmella?
Mm-hmm. I think that's the question. Where's Carmella? Tell me what you think about this. I think the reason that Reginald's floating around here like a nugget, as we've been told in the past, a little nugget that just won't flush. I think the reason. What? No, I didn't make that up. That was Triple H. It's good.
Yeah.
It was Owen Hart used to be called the Nugget. And he goes,
"I
am not a nugget." But Reginald, as the nugget of WWE right now, just the piece of turd that won't flush, I think the reason he's looming about in this way is I think that Carmella's still in this story. And I don't know if this leads to a Bianca versus Carmella at Fastlane. I don't know what the stipulation would be or why it would have to happen. But I wonder if that's the match they're going to. And if that's not the match they're going to, I wonder if it's possible that Carmella's match with Bianca is, if Carmella wins that match, she's added to that match and you can end up with a triple threat at Mania.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. It's weird that lately there's been a lot of face versus face and heel versus heel matches, and I think adding a Carmella to that dynamic might be interesting.
I think it could be, because what's the story otherwise, man? There's really no story between Sasha and Bianca, other than this match will probably be good. I mean, and I say probably be good because, let's be honest, realistically, the match has the potential to be a legend. Like, this could be a classic in the making. This could be a match that people talk about for many years. They have the potential for that. But that also means there's a lot of pressure on them for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, I could see, like you were talking about pressure and stuff like that. I don't know if they're, if Bianca can handle it. And we've even seen Sasha, as great as she is, when there's a lot of pressure where she's overperforming. And we've talked about this before, where it's like, hey, just let it come natural. Don't force it. But, truthfully, I don't know. I have kind of mixed feelings about it as of right now. With if it's a triple threat, it'd be cool. But then at the same time, I think everyone gets robbed of the Sasha Bianca match that they would want. And then but then it could lead into something down the road.
It could. And I do think that still to this day, people talk about the biggest problem with WrestleMania 35 was that it was a triple threat with Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte. I think even people who are Charlotte fans will at this point agree she didn't need to be in that match. I think the people who keep saying that she has to be are people who just are that's the hill they've chose to die on. I've watched that match a dozen times, and I'll tell you right now, I don't think Charlotte brought very much to that match at all. I think that the story was clearly with Becky and Ronda, and the only addition Charlotte made to that match storyline-wise or story-wise in the match itself is here is Charlotte again in the way of Becky. One more thing that Becky has to overcome to just do her thing. You know what I mean? So it was that whole shoehorn Charlotte was the story, and there was nothing to that match that needed to be there when it could have just been Becky and Ronda, which was the story everyone wanted to begin with. So with that in mind, if you shoehorn Carmella into this match, and you do get a Bianca Sasha Carmella, I think storyline wise it could make sense. But I do think there'll be a lot of animosity against Carmella for a long time if they do that.
But unless that's what they're going for.
That could be something they're going for. But I also think that maybe not against Carmella specifically, but against people like the Office, quote, as it were. Because I think the reason that Charlotte gets the heat for that match, more so than like Vince or someone, is because of Charlotte's character. Has been what it is for so long. People are like, Charlotte gets what she wants. Charlotte does whatever she wants. She gets everything. She gets all the titles. So it's always that Charlotte gets these things, and the story is not that maybe, just maybe, it has nothing to do with Charlotte necessarily, and the Office is obsessed with her, and Vince McMahon just loves her and wants to give her these things. That could be. It could be 100% not Charlotte at all. I think that Carmella's character not being that she gets what she wants whenever she wants it and has every title it's ever been, she might not get the same backlash as Charlotte, but I do think there will be a backlash if they shoehorn Carmella into there. Grim Reaper coming through the chat. Cheers, Grim Reaper.
Cheers.
Calling me names in the chat. What do you think, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, I could see the backlash, but I can also see that, where they could, because like you said, there's no storyline between Bianca and Sasha at all. And I don't know if anything's gonna come up within what do we have until maybe a month and a half, 6 weeks or so.
Yeah, that's about right.
I don't think they could do enough to add anything storyline wise to that. Whereas, like you said, if they put in Carmella, I think the fans might feel like they got robbed out of the Sasha and Bianca. But then, it could buy them time to actually add more story to it. And then, like at a SummerSlam or whatever, we get just Sasha and Bianca one-on-one.
Yeah, I could see that. I do think that having Sasha and Bianca team so much has actively hurt this story going into it. They've actively had no animosity against each other whatsoever, and they're friends. And so now it's like, I want to fight you because you're so good, and I want to defend against you because you're so good, and we're best friends. And you go, oh, okay. Why am I passionately wanting someone specifically to win? Do I want Bianca to win because it's her first Mania? Do I want Sasha to retain because she's never won at a WrestleMania? Like, the storyline shouldn't be that as a hardcore fan, I understand what the performers go through to get there. It should be because I am passionately behind or against one of these people in the ring. That when someone's about to win, I go, no! Or if someone's about to win, I go, yeah, come on, go. Like you said, story.
Yeah.
There's no story with the two of them, and like you said, I don't know if a month and a half is enough to repair the damage done by making them best friends for the past fucking month. To be honest. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? Because anything now is going to look forced.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so
I
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to reiterate, I think there needs to be something added to it. And if it's Carmella, so be it. I hope it's not Reginald in the three-way.
Ooh, that'd be good. Just put Reginald in the match in general.
Yeah.
Phrasing.
Yeah.
You think they're gonna put Reginald in the match? At Mania? Producer says it. You heard it here first. She hasn't even drank anything yet. Oh, yeah, she's got a little bit of a drink. She's got herself some screwball, and now she's talking crazy talk. She's like, oh, one drink in, and they're going to put Reginald in the WrestleMania match.
Cut her off. She's had too much.
Take her keys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that it'll be interesting, but I do think that Reginald's there on purpose. I know a lot of people are like, why is he here? This doesn't make sense. He's playing no part. He's there to keep the looming presence of Carmella relevant. I think we have not seen the end of Carmella in this match on the way to Mania. And I think, honestly, if they build a rivalry between Carmella and Bianca and completely overlook the Sasha-Bianca match they have a month later, that will only further hurt it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got to give me a reason to truly care about Sasha versus Bianca other than it's going to be Sasha versus Bianca and has that potential. Potential for an incredible match is not the same as a compelling story. And I think that those two deserve a compelling story.
Yes.
Graham's in the chat. Speaking up, he said, I could see a tag between Carmella and Reginald versus Sasha and Bianca at Fastlane. They have done the intergender matches with him already. 100%, I could see that, and that's exactly what I'm saying can't happen. That's going to further damage the Bianca-Sasha dynamic. They have to start getting Bianca and Sasha to be rivals. They can't keep being friends, but the problem is they've been friends at this point for too long that it's going to start feeling forced. Or if they do that match, then what? Sasha costs Bianca the match, and then Sasha gets mad at Bianca or one or the other, and now they start pushing each other, and then it looks just as stupid as that whole fucking thing with Asuka and Charlotte 2 weeks ago that was so forced and pointless that it didn't help anybody. Where it's like, oh, Charlotte accidentally kicked Asuka. When going into the match, I asked specifically to the chat that Grim is in, I said, why is this match happening? The response was, so Charlotte can cost Asuka the match and that can begin their split so Charlotte and Asuka can be off to the races. That shouldn't be the reason for having a match. Yeah. Transparent booking should never be the reason. It shouldn't be like, well, we need to do this match to get to here. No. I should have more reason to care. And I think a WrestleMania match with Bianca and Sasha deserve more than the transparent history of it all, which is great. And not a knock, but they deserve more than that. This match could mean even more than it means if it also is elevated by story. That's what I'm saying. Does that make sense, Kev? Am I being a dick?
Yes. What did you say?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair. Well, let's wrap up SmackDown with Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso having a fucking fantastic match.
Really good.
Real quick. Grim Reaper says Carmella gets the upset win over Sasha because Sasha and Bianca will have a miscommunication that gets Carmella into the WrestleMania match. Yeah, see, and that's what I was just saying. The idea that they might put Carmella into... You just jumped in, I bet. The whole last 10 minutes was about that. Is I think we might be getting Carmella shoehorned into the WrestleMania match. You might have a triple threat. So, Grim Reaper is why I drink. We got to have him back on the show sometimes. But we had a tremendous match with Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso that ended in a double countout. Do you think there's going to be another match this coming up week for Daniel Bryan to get himself in a Fastlane match with Roman Reigns? My gut kind of tells me they will. Although I think that, the story's going to be that Roman doesn't want that because, well, you didn't win the match.
Well, see, yeah, I kind of like the outcome of the match. Like, I wanted to see, Daniel Bryan win because, I like Daniel Bryan. But, whenever you hear these matches, oh, if you win, you're in, they're like, oh, well, they're going to win. And it's going to be Roman and Daniel Bryan at Fastlane just so Roman can win and then go to Mania. And it was kind of cool that it didn't happen.
I agree with that 100%, yeah.
And I was like, all right, where do we go from here? I think to me, I think it's going to be more of Jey Uso versus Daniel Bryan more.
At Fastlane?
Well, just in general. Maybe not at Fastlane.
Oh. Yeah. No,
I think
we'll
Roman
more Jey and
doesn't
Daniel
have
Bryan.
I don't think Roman's going to have a match at Fastlane.
Get your head out of your ass. Of course he will.
I mean, just like how he kind of weaseled his way from the Elimination Chamber, I think, I think it'd be cool. And character-wise, I think it'd be cool if I don't want to fight there. My next match is at WrestleMania type of thing. So
Yeah. I mean, I think the character should pull that string, but I also think that Adam Pearce should make it happen because Adam Pearce versus Roman Reigns is it's the new Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon.
yeah.
Except Adam Pearce is so much more of a bitch than Vince McMahon was.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Vince McMahon pissed himself.
This week?
No, remember? He peed himself like
I know.
twice.
I know.
And I bet you that was shoot piss. I bet you right now Vince McMahon was all like, if I ask you to piss yourself, I expect you to piss yourself. And someone's like, would you? And he goes, watch. Dead eyes them, pisses all over his own self. And says, any time you want.
Without losing eye contact or blinking.
Yeah, he doesn't lose eye contact. He doesn't blink. I used to say that I would do that as a power move. I used to tell people that, like, anytime somebody in the retail environment would make me upset, I said I would maintain eye contact so they wouldn't notice that I would unzip the front of my pants to then pee forward onto the front of their pants, because there's no one who's going to believe them when they say that guy just peed on my pants and that's why it looks like I've peed my own pants. You know what I mean? They'll look like the crazy person. Carol's real upset right now. He's like, "This is weird." It was I was just throwing it out there, just a thought. Let's see. Grimmy Bird does say, and Adam Pearce is the bald one in this story, which is true. That makes a difference.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, I think SmackDown was a pretty awesome show. I think that it didn't have Bayley, which had a lot of the Bayley fans really upset online, which was hysterical to me. I saw some people say this was a 1 out of 10, and they were a Bayley stan account, and I was like, guys, relax. Relax. She hasn't missed a show in a fucking, 2 years, and she's gone through a whole lot. Maybe she can have a night off. Just relax, guys. So that stuff makes me laugh when people, but yeah,
they're bearing your
I think that was
character.
it. Yeah. Anything else you had to say about SmackDown?
Clearly. Nope.
All right, let's move
I think that
on.
was it.
Let's talk Raw. Legendary. Whoa, 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 whoa. Legendary.
Nailed it.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm talking about right there. How my will I like? What? It's a good song, man. Kev? Did you watch
Yes,
Raw?
sir. Yes, I did.
All right, I didn't watch it at all. It's your show from here. I'll see you later. I'm out. No, I'm playing.
All right.
Drop
so,
the mic. Yeah. All right, here we go. Guys, so,
Mad
okay.
Time to Shine.
Like, this is weird.
Yeah, well, I think he was talking about when I talked about peeing on someone else's pants, which, I mean, I'll give him. That's...
A little bit weird.
But it worked. Anyways,
Yeah.
Kev, the show opened up with Drew McIntyre
Yippee.
boring the hell out of me. Then Miz comes out. I stopped watching for a while. Fast
It also
forward.
bore the hell out of you.
Yeah, I honestly turned it off, and then I came back, and it was Drew versus Sheamus. So tell me about the beginning and how much you loved it. I could not stand to hear any more Drew McIntyre and Miz and me trying to get behind the old Drew McIntyre because, oh, to go. Go ahead, dude.
That's about it.
Is that about it? So I will say Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre was a nice, hard-hitting match. Although I thought Drew McIntyre looked real sloppy in it. He kept not holding people right and moving weird, and he barely landed the Claymore, and it didn't look clean at all. He was all over the place, man. What do you think?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't one of his better performances, but
It was one of the more brutal matches.
I mean, I was gonna say him and Sheamus were laying it into each other, and who was it? Was it Triple H or Shawn Michaels that said that? That
I think both have said it.
Yeah, going against your friend. That it's like, hey, I can get away with a little more, so you actually hit him harder and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you can tell that's exactly what they did here, and I mean, I was rooting for Sheamus every time he hit Drew. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was too. And I'll tell you this. I said it in a chat that I'm in, and I was met with a lot of heat. I said, Sheamus needs to win this match. And the response is, you don't like Drew McIntyre and you always want him to lose. And I said, yes, but.
Yes. Yes.
All of that aside,
Guilty.
Sheamus beating Drew is more interesting than Drew beating Sheamus. Because if Sheamus beats Drew again, then you have someone floating around the roster who has Drew's number. So anytime, and I was like, and don't even keep the thing going. Don't keep the rivalry going. Just let Sheamus get the win and drop it. And then move forward with whatever you're going to move forward with. But now you have someone who floats around the roster who has Drew's number, who can always come out and say, you've never beat me. That's interesting down the line. Yes. Now you have Drew with another clean win over another one of your potentially star talent. So what? So Sheamus comes back and says, well, I want a rematch. You got the better of me one night. Okay, well, get in line. I guess everyone else has too. You know what I mean? I want someone floating around the roster who can definitively say, not only can Drew not beat me, I've actually beat him several times. I mean, without trying to fast forward too much, well, I guess I don't even know if these two have ever met. So I'll look it up. I won't get to that point. But I am saying the idea that Drew beat Sheamus to me was a bummer, because I think that there's so much story between Sheamus and Drew that really felt like a period on the end of the sentence. And I felt like the idea of having a brutal ass-kicking Sheamus floating around who could always just pop up and say, you've never beat me, motherfucker, would feel really Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan to me. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I think that would have been definitely the better move. Plus, if you have Drew on almost a losing streak, like, cool, let him get frustrated, let him have the poor me that he's always trying for.
Yeah.
Let him have the I'm the victim here type of thing. But I don't understand how they just, hey, he beats everyone except for one time to the Miz and Randy. They just build him up as this great force, and at this time, almost like Goldberg back in the day, you're just rooting against him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Oh, and I'm looking at it, and yeah, during the Performance Center days, Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre had a title match, and Bobby lost. So, still, even though we can have someone so dominant and so good, we still don't have anyone on the roster now who can say, yeah, but I beat you more than you beat me. So, and that's what I meant, and we'll get to that. Obviously, I got a lot to say about that. I'm sure you do too. But, yeah, I think Sheamus should have gotten the win just to have someone on your roster who can say, you might beat Brock Lesnar in 4 minutes, but you don't have my number. I've got yours. That could be great. Like Grim Reaper says in the chat, like Tony and Io. Yeah, Tony comes out on NXT to Io Shirai and says, yeah, you're great. You might be the greatest, but you've never beat me. And I've definitely beat you. Like, those moments are always the ones. I remember when Roddy Piper showed up in WCW.
I actually just saw that clip.
Yeah.
Like 2 days ago.
Nice. But I remember when it happened, I remember talking to you. I think we were on the phone together like we did a lot of Monday nights. And Roddy Piper comes out and he's all like, you've beaten just about everyone. Oh, but you've never beaten me. And I remember going, is that real? And you're like, what? And I was like, has Hogan never beat Piper? Because I didn't watch all of their careers. I mean, certainly, none of us probably saw all their careers because of the fucking territories and all that. But I certainly was not watching the 80s of wrestling. I got into it in the 90s. So when he said that, I was like, I was familiar with them both being sort of rivals, but I didn't know that. And I was like, is that true? And you're all like, that is so true. And I was like, holy shit, this is a fucking moment. Roddy Piper comes out of nowhere and says, you don't got my number like I got yours, pal. And I was like, that is big. So I just want that kind of thing looming about, especially with somebody as dominant and as good at what they do as Drew. He needs a Piper looming about him. That could be Sheamus. Could absolutely be Sheamus.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
That's been ruined.
Yeah, not anymore. It's over. That ship is sad.
Yeah, well, guess that's that. End of the show. This is why I drink. The This is why I drink segment coming right up. Sheamus loses. Kev. Although the match was good. It was a very good match. I thought the wrong person won. Let's see. Let's keep going a little bit. What else happened in this show? It was towards the end. Nia Jax defeated Naomi. Which, why the fuck is this happening?
That was such a fast squash match.
That was a squash on Naomi, and for what? Naomi and Lana are number one contenders that no one talks about anymore. They won a match to be the number one contenders, haven't got a match. Since then, they're losing to the title holders. Like, what the fuck is happening?
They're turning into Riot Squad. What the fuck?
It's hard to argue. Shitty to say, but hard to argue.
I hate it. I hate it.
Kev, what do you think about this Nia Jax defeating Naomi business?
Well, I don't like it, for the simple fact too is, they did win a number one contendership match. I think they said it on this show that, oh god dang it, I can't remember her name or their names from NXT that also have a title shot.
Yeah, Raquel and
Tegan,
Dakota.
Dakota, there you go. Yeah, that they have a title shot. It sounds like, and I think they even mentioned somebody on SmackDown, right?
SmackDown had Charlotte and Asuka were up for the titles, but I don't know who their number one contender is over there. But
they're
they
Raw.
get like the most number one contenders, man.
Yeah, but exactly without having matches with who's in line.
Yeah. What's the point of being number one contender if you can't get the fucking match?
Yeah. and I don't get it because, we have title matches on every show and, like why isn't this match, why haven't these matches happened yet?
Yeah.
Is my thing. And then just for, Nia to go in there and beat up Naomi and stuff, like, it was dumb. It was stupid. It doesn't make me interested in their title shot.
No.
Whenever it happens.
Yeah, that really bummed me out. I was like, I thought they were trying to show that them as a team could be great. Them as individuals are stronger than you realize. But then they just do shit like this, and you go, okay, well, what for? Now, not only did they do this and make Nia Jax look like a beast, which I get it. Like Grim Reaper says in the chat, she's not like most girls. I hear you. You want her to be a goddamn bulldozer and a steamroller. But then, fast forward a little bit, and we're jumping around here. I'll give you that. We're definitely bouncing around on this show. Charlotte Flair comes out, cuts a promo that I couldn't give two shits about, and I apologize for all those massive Charlotte Flair fans who think this is it. This is the Charlotte I've been waiting for. Okay, well, I didn't care what she was saying. I want a shot at the Raw title. Oh, you do want a shot at the title? Oh, I don't have a match.
No.
Oh, what? Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
You want a title shot at Mania? What? This is groundbreaking. Well, so you have Charlotte come out, say the same shit she says every fucking year, which is fine. She's fine. She's a good talent.
Like
Shayna comes out because they're going to have a match. What?
She's like Santa Claus. When she's going to come out and do the same thing.
Yep, here we go. And she even said, she goes, I came back to be Asuka's partner, not to win the titles. You're like, really? Because you won the title and then dropped Asuka. So you got a real funny way of showing it. So, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't come here to get the fuck out of here. So she has a match with Shayna. And to open that match up, Nia Jax bulldozes Charlotte and Shayna Baszler gets the jump on her. They're beating the piss out of her. If it was Miz, it would be turd, but we'll get to that. just beating the piss out of her. And then they come back from commercial break. Charlotte fucking dominates the rest of the match and wins. And you're like, okay, so Nia Jax can steamroll and murder Naomi. Nia Jax plus Shayna Baszler can't get one over on Charlotte. The fuck? Kev, what'd you think? Did you love this?
No, I hated it. Hated everything about it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can say, trying to stay positive, is I like when Charlotte wears a black robe. That's about it.
You got a nice black robe.
But yeah, I mean, then especially watching it in sequence, you see, like you said, Naomi get her ass kicked by Nia.
Yeah.
And then, the whole thing with Charlotte and everything like that. Was that match, the Nia Naomi match, was that just to make Charlotte look better?
Right? That's what I'm saying.
And then if so, which it's glaringly looking like it is, it just makes me not like Charlotte that much more.
Why does Charlotte need to be protected so bad? We literally have to dominate someone who's not involved in the story.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Maybe someone in the back is just obsessed with Charlotte. It would make Charlotte look even better if we beat the shit out of Naomi for no reason. Naomi's like, what? Wait.
We love Naomi.
Did you? What? And Nia's like, I love that.
Count me in.
Yeah. The fuck. Well, that was that. And I mean, I could so care. Like, I mean, the Raw Women's title is such a side note. It's a footnote.
So
it's not even a side note at this point.
Yeah, it's so irrelevant right now.
Yeah, and then they're going to have to give it to Flair because you've literally destroyed your entire roster to get her there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it, man. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that. I wish it was more interesting than that. I wish it wasn't so transparent, but it's what it appears to be. And nothing would make me happier at the end of this than to take a shot of Old Crow and eat some crow on that one. I'd love to be way wrong. If Charlotte does not have a title match at this fucking Mania, I'd love it. Not because I don't think Charlotte's just because of the story of it all. Go ahead.
Well, exactly. And that's, once again, with the whole Sasha and Bianca thing, that there's no storyline here. I think with this, they're going to bank on the storyline of, Charlotte ending the streak. And, we have history, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not interested in any Charlotte versus Asuka match at Mania.
Not 100%. I'm not.
Unless Asuka wins, and then, like you said, feed us the shots of Old Crow. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's do it. But is that going to happen?
Serious question. Has anyone had a match with Charlotte at Mania and been better on the other side?
Becky.
Arguably the only person you can say that about is Becky.
Yeah.
But that's because Becky
Ronda
got the win over Ronda.
Yeah,
Ronda never came back, which, so that's neither here nor there. You can't really knock Charlotte for that. She didn't drive Ronda out of the company. But arguably the only person who's better on the other side after a Charlotte match has been Becky, and she pinned Ronda in that match. So it's almost like Charlotte took herself out of the equation there. Grim's in the chat. Oh, let's see. How does Rhea Ripley fit into all of this? She doesn't. Get that out of your head, man. Get your head out of your ass. Rhea's not happening. Quit trying to make Rhea happen. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. He says, I also am clips that, and it goes viral where it's like, this dude hates Rhea Ripley. I'm like, oh, man. Grim's like, how does Rhea Ripley fit in all of this? Does she debut at Fastlane and challenge Charlotte to a rematch grudge match from last year's WrestleMania no title situation? I wouldn't care if she did. That doesn't interest me. I feel like what does Rhea come back for? I mean, Rhea versus Charlotte doesn't feel like a good thing. Again, Grim, answer me this. Who's been better after losing to Charlotte? Who has not had to completely rebuild after losing to Charlotte? She's not a star maker. She's a star crusher. She's like the Death Star. She's blowing up Alderaan every chance she gets. I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to shit on Charlotte. I'm joking around, but I am saying, can anyone name me someone who, after a Charlotte match, career was launched after that? Because I feel like everyone's having to rebuild after every Charlotte match. And that's a tough situation to be in. So I don't want Rhea anywhere near Charlotte right now, not unless she's going to dominate and win. And then you go, oh shit, Rhea Ripley's not here to play around. She's not here for that goofy shit. Comes back for brutality, of course, yes. But then what happens when she loses? Then you're back to like, okay, put her on main event with Liv Morgan, one-on-one, her and Dana Brooke. I think Liv Morgan and Dana Brooke are fantastic talent, and somehow they're not up any higher, but they've had their matches with Charlotte, and what did it do? They've had to rebuild. Every time it's like, hey, put them in the ring with Charlotte, they're going to get better. It's always like, oh no, put them in the ring with Charlotte, and then back in the sandbox.
Has Charlotte lost that Mania?
Just the
like
Becky
I know
one?
the triple threat. Yeah, just the triple threat, but she didn't take the loss.
Yeah. She's won every other.
She didn't win, but she didn't lose. Type of thing.
Correct. And she was crying ringside like she just lost her house.
See, I'm just wondering if
sorry.
Nothing new. I'm just wondering if they will actually give Asuka the win, and it'll set up, maybe not next year, but down the road, an Asuka versus Charlotte trilogy.
If they did that, I'd be okay with that. If Asuka got the win,
Yeah.
I'd say, oh, okay. Now we're into some serious storytelling. Now something's happening. But if Charlotte goes to Mania and gets a win, I'm going to not care. It's very hard
Not at all.
to care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because what's going to happen is whoever they put her up against to lose is going to have to fucking rebuild. No one comes out after losing to Charlotte a stronger person, a stronger character. Maybe backstage it's a different story, but on screen that's what we've been seeing and what I'm led to believe.
Yeah. I'm just trying
So
to
I don't know
find
where
the
Rhea fits
positive
in.
this.
100%.
Yeah.
100% I'm trying to also.
Going back to Rhea real quick too, is I hate that they announced that people are coming. I hate that. If Rhea showed up, maybe at a Fastlane or even after Mania, cool. But when they announce, oh, this person's coming, coming soon, and it's like, why?
Dude, here's my problem with it, and here's why I think they might even be doing it. Where the fuck do you fit Rhea Ripley into the Raw storyline at all? Because who does she have any beef with? She's got beef with Charlotte, and she has that moment she had with Alexa in the Rumble. You cannot have Rhea come in and have a match with Alexa.
No.
You can't do that. Because there's no way we're going to accept that this fiend-possessed Alexa is going to lose to Rhea right now. But there's also no way we're going to believe that Rhea Ripley's not here to tear shit up. That's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
That is going to be a hill to climb. And I don't want to see Rhea come back only to lose to Charlotte. If she comes back and dominates Charlotte and that's her story, I'm here to beat the shit out of Charlotte, and she does it, okay. But then what?
What if she tags Asuka?
Rhea's coming back to tag with Peyton Royce.
Just tag with Peyton Royce. Producer says, what if she tags with Asuka? I don't know that I need Rhea in a tag match. I don't know.
No, not at all.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't know where you put Rhea that makes any sense. But if you don't have Rhea on TV and you want people to know this is where she's at, maybe that's why you start advertising, because you also look at it and say, well, what the fuck do we do with her now?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. But enough of that. Enough of that. And I'll just note this in the chat, twitch.tv/wrestling on the rocks, if you want to derail the show. Grim Reaper has come up with 0 examples of someone being better after a Charlotte Flair match. So I just want to put that weight on Grim Reaper's shoulders alone. He was here to defend her. He did not do that. He's the bad guy, not me.
Got real quiet.
Got real fucking quiet in the chat, I'll be honest. Real fucking quiet.
But thank you for coming.
Cheers. Anyone who also wants to be in the chat, get shit upon.
Hey.
A lot of fucking crickets up in there. So one of the other, like we were talking about before, with a thread of story through the show, I thought Raw did a great job of doing that with The Miz and Bobby Lashley. They did have the thing early on that said, see, that's my contribution, is no examples. They had the whole thing where, Miz has to defend against Bobby Lashley. And so they had the little counter. It was going. It was like, oh, here it comes. And I remember watching the Sheamus Drew match and seeing the counter. Because like I said, I missed the whole little window there. And seeing the counter, and I was like, oh, that's strange. They're going to put Bobby Lashley and Miz at the top of the hour. I was like, that doesn't sound like the match is going to go well for Bobby. I was like, I don't know what they're going to do here. And so then they cut to that segment. The Miz has the bubble guts. He is shitting himself in the back, and he's like, I got cramps. I got the Rainforest Cafe. Gugh. I got my Taco Bell Diablo. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
All
That's
too
what he's
well.
got going on. Yeah, all too well, my friend. I got my TGI Fridays mudslide happening.
Come on.
What? I'm saying Miz is like, bleh. So
We get it. We get it.
Bobby Lashley's not having it. Says, I will literally push turd out of you. I'll kick the shit out of you. Literally. Runs back there. Kicks Miz in the stomach. Knocks him down. And Morrison starts going, can we get a towel? I hate this shit. I love it.
Love it.
I love it. Kev, there was that segment followed by a segment where they're going to have the match. I mean, not immediately followed, but, so then they pumped the clock to another hour. And, well, let's just talk about the one segment. We'll go through some more stuff. We'll come to that second segment. What do you think about that where Miz is pooping himself?
I love it. I love it whenever somebody poops themselves.
Doesn't Morrison call
Makes for
himself
great
Johnny
TV.
Drip Drip?
Oh.
Yep.
Well,
Oh.
what? Foreshadowing. That's foreshadowing.
That would have been hilarious. He looks at Miz. He's like, "Oh, Mizzy drip drip."
Yeah, Mizzy Drip Drip. Ah.
Ah.
Legendary.
But first off, I hated the counting. I hated that thing so much every time they showed it. I just felt like it didn't need to be there. But I thought it was a cool heel thing for Miz to do. Like, I'm not feeling good. I wanted him to say, "Oh, card subject to change. Go, Morrison. you take my spot."
Yeah.
But like I said, I think it was a great heel thing to do. Him just trying to weasel out of the match, and yeah, I don't know how far we're going if we're just going through the whole thing because
Just
even
that
when they
spot.
had the first match. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll get to the first match in just a minute. Let's talk real quick. Riddle Lucha House Party versus Retribution, followed by Ali defeating Riddle via pinfall. Do you think this is where we're starting to see even more cracks in the foundation here? Are we going to get a breakup of Retribution? I think people are starting to see that when Ali was yelling in the background during the Retribution match. You had Reckoning on the outside shaking her head like, this asshole, this son of a bitch.
This dude.
Yeah. This dude, am I right?
Am I right, guys?
Yeah. What do you think? I thought overall both matches were good, but I mean,
Yeah.
I'm liking the story so far. But what do you want to say about it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the breakup of Retribution because I don't know. I just still feel underwhelmed that they've still never done anything.
Yeah, I feel like something more's got to happen with them. I feel like I'm not ready for them to
Yeah.
break up yet.
Yeah.
It feels slow moving, and I feel like that a lot of the greatest stuff that they've done as a faction have been off air and on social media and stuff, and I feel like that's an absolute shame. But I don't feel like I'm ready for them to break up personally. But maybe it's just because I see so much potential there with that group. The talent is so good, and they clearly have their whole heart in it. I want to see more out of them. But
Yeah.
it was two great matches. by a lot of great wrestlers. So couldn't be mad at
Yeah,
that.
I mean, it was good. I think it's cool because it immediately puts Ali in the U.S. title picture, obviously.
Yep.
I think it'd be cool, just Riddle and Ali more to do it. But Retribution, I think, I don't want to see them go yet. Like I said, I feel underwhelmed. I want to see something that, it was all about them for the longest time, and then just nothing. And if that's it, then
that'd be a bummer. What do you think about this? Because we like to fantasy book. Do you think they could be doing this? Do you think they could be setting up Ali to take the U.S. title off of Riddle with the help of Retribution, only to have Keith Lee show up and ultimately defeat all of Retribution in gaining his U.S. title, and then you see the fallout of Retribution where they couldn't hold on to the title and it breaks them up?
I mean, maybe, but
because my gut tells me that
said,
Keith Lee was supposed to walk away with that U.S. title when he wasn't in the Elimination Chamber. And I feel like that moving it to Riddle was an audible. I just feel like this Retribution thing could be because Keith Lee can now overcome all of Retribution and look that much stronger. I think it would be a bit of a shame to feed all of Retribution to him, but I have a hard time rooting against Keith Lee in that story,
Maybe Keith Lee joins Retribution. No. But
comes out as wrecking.
Why? Yeah, right. Why? Did Keith Lee legitimately get hurt? Is the reason why he was out of it?
I don't know. He's pretty quiet on social media. That guy keeps to himself. It's hard to say.
Because it was weird that they're like, oh, he's hurt, which whatever. Then they put Morrison, but then Morrison was such a factor into the Miz getting the belt. Like, you would have thought that should have been the plan from the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
I
feel like something's
looking
up,
in,
but I don't know.
Yeah, going into the Elimination Chamber, I think it would have been great if Miz is over there like, hey, I'm gonna cash in the Money in the Bank. I'm gonna be the champion. You're gonna be the U.S. champion. This is great, and then yeah. It feels
100%.
like you said, weird. Like Riddle's the audible, and I like that Riddle won it. I like Riddle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have a problem with him winning it personally, to be honest. And I've said it before that once he's in the ring, I'm bought in, and I always think this is a great match. But there's nothing about his character that makes me like him on promos. I don't like stoner humor, so I don't find him as particularly funny. And there's nothing about his character that makes me go, I want him to win, or hate him enough to say I want him to lose. It's just like, okay, there's Matt Riddle. We're going to have a good match. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do feel like that the connection's missing for me, but go ahead.
It's because you like him in the ring. It's because of how he gets into the ring and how they slow it down and show the sandals kicking off.
That shit. He said I like him in the ring because of how he gets into the ring, he said.
Oh,
Son of a bitch.
come on.
This guy's a piece of shit, man.
Slow-mo every time.
Ugh. Ugh. Let's see. So that happened. Let's see. There's a Charlotte. So let's hit the second match now, and then we'll talk about Damian Priest. So the second match with Bobby Lashley and Miz. They start the match. Miz rolls out, runs away as fast as he can, gets counted out, and Bobby Lashley wins by count out. And then that starts that whole thing where MVP is like, no! And Bobby Lashley turns and goes, but I won. It's like, he didn't need to look stupid, but it's fine.
I did it, Coach. I did it. I won.
Yeah, I won. It's so good. But it was a good segment. It was a good heel shit thing to do. And if you ask me, there was foreshadowing before when they said Miz had the runs. The runs, get it? He's going to run away. Miz has a case of the runs again. That's a twice runs joke, man. If you can recycle a poop joke, you're okay in my book.
How great would it have been if Miz is running, like, holding his ass?
I
gotta go.
Yo, I wanted so bad for there to be some kind of poopy mess during that match, one way or the other. Just so you can be like, well, he was being honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grim Reaper goes, womp, womp. He's being a dick. I don't know how I'm the bad guy all of a sudden. I'm being ganged up on here. Grim Reaper's being mean. Kev's being mean. He's just never been nice to me. Sorry.
Gave you that whiskey.
That was a good whiskey. It was good. Okay, so what did you want to say about this segment here, this match?
I just thought it was great that, Miz literally just grabbed his title and took it off.
Yeah. When he did it, I was like, really? Okay. Okay, I can't hate him for this. I cannot hate him for this.
Yeah, but how else would you picture Miz as the champion if he wasn't doing that? I thought it was great. MVP was great. This is bullshit. All pissed off.
Yep. And then Shane McMahon being involved and them saying, like, look, I'll figure something out. Maybe we'll strip the title. I'll consider it, this and that. They did a really good job of kind of making a storyline progress through this episode. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Shane McMahon, the best in the world. We had the Hurt Business versus Braun Strowman and a partner of Shane McMahon's choosing, and he picked 5-time NWA champion Adam Pearce. What a world. How fantastic. First off, Braun Strowman comes out as kind of a weird struggling promo. Shane McMahon comes out and just makes fun of him the whole fucking time, ripping him to bits, and you're like, oh my God. This feels like 8 Mile right now, and B-Rabbit is laying it on thick. It was crazy how bad Shane McMahon was willing to make Braun Strowman look through words alone. But they did it. They did it, and then he goes, I'm going to tag you up with 5-time NWA World Champion Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce tags with Braun Strowman for the world title, the world tag team titles against MVP and the Hurt Business. Braun Strowman beats the shit out of Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander like they had no business being in the ring with him. Shane McMahon gets up on the ring apron. He's like, tag me, tag me, tag me, tag, tag, take it, tag, tag, take it, tag, tag, tag. And Braun goes, what? You want me to tag? He goes, yeah, tag me, tag me, tag, tag. So he tags in Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce rolls on in. He gets rolled up. That's right. Braun Strowman could win the Raw Tag Team Championships off of the bar with a 9-year-old child, but could not win the Tag Team Championships 3 years later with a 5-time NWA World Champion. That is the legacy of the NWA Championship, which is why I will not be buying the NWA's new paper. I'm just kidding. But Adam Pearce goes in there, loses it all, still in his suit, and then rolls out, leaves, and Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman spit at each other, and we're off to the races. We're definitely getting that at WrestleMania. Kev, what did you think of all this?
I didn't like how Braun Strowman obviously just dismantled the Hurt Business, and
they got these hands.
I thought, yeah, they got him. But then I thought it was hilarious that he tags in Pierce and he gets rolled up and loses. But then I'm not interested in Braun Strowman versus Adam Pearce in any capacity.
No, we're gonna get Braun Strowman versus Jay McMahon.
But no, well, I thought he said that Adam Pearce was gonna get these hands if they lose.
I think they're all getting his hands. Everyone's getting fisted by Braun Strowman.
No, come on.
What? What'd I say? I think we're going to get Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it. But
I also think this is a weird story. I don't know where you go with it. I don't know how Braun Strowman looks better if he wins. You know what I mean?
yeah,
If he beats Shane McMahon, okay. I don't know that puts him in a better position. And if he loses to Shane McMahon, what the fuck are we doing? It's just weird.
yeah.
Grim Reaper says, talk about Hurt in the Hurt Business. I
mean-
did not think it made them look great.
No, not at all. But do you think Shane has a beast in his pocket, if you will?
Dabba-Kato,
Like,
maybe.
Yeah.
Because that was his dude. Remember they brought him out after Raw Underground went away? And he goes,
Yeah.
this is my guy. You're going to be seeing him. And then we never saw
Then
him.
we have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking of Almost for a second, but yeah, Dabba-Kato. I mean, I think that would be. I think. Oh.
Actually,
Yeah, it's probably Shane and Braun at Mania, and then Dabba-Kato steps in.
it's probably Shane and Braun at Fastlane. And Dabba-Kato and Braun at Mania.
See, I was
Dabba-Kato could
thinking
go
that,
over on
but
Braun.
would that be? Yeah, but would that be interesting at Mania?
It would, because you have two monster dudes, and if Dabba-Kato goes over on Braun, you've made a new monster. And it doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily kill Braun as a monster as long as you keep making him a monster around other people. And you have them clash a few times, you know what I mean? And maybe he gets one over. Maybe they start teaming. Maybe they become the tag champions. They could be the women's tag champions. I don't know. You could do all sorts of stuff. But I'm saying,
Take all the belts.
take them all. They could be the new Kenny Omega of the tag team division.
Oh, maybe this is when everyone finally gets their wish and Adam Cole comes up.
Adam Cole comes up. He defeats both of them in a handicap match.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I also think it's funny, just as a quick side note, I won't even get into it, but the idea that Kenny Omega is a belt collector and has not won a second title is still kind of funny to me. But, because everyone's like, oh, he can collect this title and that title. I was like, first off, he needs a second title. He's not collecting anything yet. He's just
He's still
standing champ.
Kenny one strapped.
Yep. He can't do what Bailey did, I'll tell you that. Pow, 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 pow. But yeah, maybe we get Braun and Dabba-Kato at WrestleMania. I'd be okay with that, man. I'd be fine with that. Let's
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
Make it some sort of crazy match too. Make it an underground match with Shane McMahon being the ref.
But didn't Braun and Dabba-Kato fight on Underground?
I remember they wanted them to, but I think that they held them apart, and I think that was supposed to be the match next week, and then they crumbled the whole fucking thing. Maybe we're getting back to it because now they have a better way of doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know that they actually did. And if they did, doesn't matter. Whoever lost is going to be the one who's got a lot more shit to talk. You got lucky, pal. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I could be okay with that. I'd be all right with that. Let's do it. Let's see. Let's talk about the two things, and then the last segment here. We got Damian Priest defeating Elias with Bad Bunny in his pocket. Dude, I am loving all the Bad Bunny stuff. Bad Bunny and Elias and Damian Priest. This match was really good. I have no problems with any of this going on. What do you think about all of it?
No, I liked it. I liked that Elias was trying to get a duet with Bad Bunny. And he's just like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, it's funny. Good stuff. No, he made a Tom Brady joke. Elias.
Oh, yeah.
What was the joke? It didn't make sense because he said like it would be as bad as Tom Brady not qualifying for some sort of like award or something.
No, I thought it was Corey made the reference to Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes.
No. Elias made a sports joke, and I thought it had to do with Tom Brady, and it said something like,
I don't remember
not okay, because we didn't understand what happened, and since there's no crowd, they couldn't respond. Let me see if I can find it real quick, but yeah, go ahead and say what you want to say about this.
Yeah, just that it was, I liked it. I liked the whole backstage promo and stuff like that. Damian Priest and Bad Bunny, they, got some good chemistry together. it doesn't seem like forced like Elias and Riker, right? That's his name.
Yeah.
Like it just seems natural, And the match was good. I'm still curious to see how long Bad Bunny's gonna hold the 24/7 title. Do you think he holds it all the way to Mania?
Bunny? Yeah. I don't see why they would have him drop it, to be honest. He's so good with those. Oh, there was. Oh, man. Okay, the Universal Truth was snubbed from the Grammys and equated it to Tom Brady not being at the Slammies? That's not right. It was a totally different award. I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. All right, well, whatever. Forget it. Tried to do it. I couldn't do it. Fuck
I
it.
do remember that now that you say that. But I don't remember what it was. Because I remember Elias talking about the Grammys.
Yeah. He was talking about the Grammys and he was talking about Tom Brady. And I was like, was he snubbed from like an ESPY or something? What the fuck's going on here? Fabtina says, it's nice to see famous fan achieve his dreams. That would be us if we got famous. Throw a belt on me. Yeah, 100%. I've got no problem with what Bad Bunny's doing. And I think he's doing an awesome job. I think from an outsider's perspective, because a lot of fans like to pretend they're doing the inside thing, being like, oh, he's swiping his feet before he gets into the ring. He's showing respect to the business. Like we're some sort of fucking locker room gatekeeper. Fuck us. Fuck every one of us who says shit like that. I know we talked about it as an example, but from what I see and what I hear and all that stuff, he's been absolutely a joy to be around in the back. Randy Orton even tweeted about him recently too, talked about how respectful he was. So very cool. And yeah, Bad Bunny's a fucking hero. Let's see. Randy Orton had a promo that got interrupted by Alexa Bliss, who then was interrupted by evil Randy Orton, cutting another promo on Randy Orton. So you had Randy Orton versus Randy Orton. Do you think we get a Randy Orton versus Randy Orton match at Fastlane?
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Okay. Who do you think does the first power slam?
Randy Orton.
Ooh, sounds good. Love it. Let's see. Bliss did start saying stuff like bring him back, and all this shit. So, I don't know, dude. I'm digging this, but I do, at this point, and I know we're a little far in for me to say this, but I do feel at this point, it's gotten real movie-like, and the idea of evil Randy Orton possessed cutting a promo on other Randy Orton is a bit outside of the wrestling world I'm used to for sure. I'm still enjoying it because it does feel, in a 3-hour show, having a break from a wrestling show and getting a little bit of a horror movie doesn't bother me. But this is a bit more than I think the other things. This is someone cutting a promo on themselves because of possession, so I can understand where people might have an issue with the line there. Kev, what do you think?
Yeah, I can see where this is, like you said, a bit much, but I still like it. I'm curious. It's got me intrigued. I've never once during this whole Fiend or in Alexa thing been like, oh, well, that wasn't that good. It's still like progressing the story and stuff like that. And it's, to me, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get Fiend and Orton at Mania, and probably one of the more cinematic matches that we've ever seen. Yeah,
I think we're definitely going to get a cinematic Firefly Funhouse type match out of this. I don't know if it's going to be called a Firefly Funhouse match at this point, though. I think they're going to give it a crazier name because I think that they set the precedence with Firefly Funhouse, and I think setting the Fiend on fire and raising him from the dead is going to be a whole other thing. Fabtina to say it was a bit much for me, even as an Orton fan. Love everything else that Alexa has done. I don't know about this second Randy though. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like watching this, I was like, okay, this is a bit into the sci-fi realm. This is a bit past typical wrestling. I mean, and it's been past typical wrestling for a long time.
Yeah.
But having Alexa say "let me in" and it was Bray's voice was one thing, and the disappearing and changing clothes and all that's one thing, but this is literally like two Randys eye to eye, and I was like,
The only thing I think that would have been better if Randy just did the promo himself. Like he all of a sudden became possessed.
Oh,
and he was
yeah, that could be
there,
better.
you know, talking instead of him seeing himself on the screen. I thought that, yeah. I think if Randy was just sitting there, like, you know, giving the promo, and all of a sudden he kind of snaps out of it, and then he's like, "Hey, what's going on?"
I also think that Randy just choking and puking because of it was weird. I think that I would have gotten more. I might have been a little more heightened there if Randy like punched the screen. If while the Randy is cutting the promo, he just gets like no and fucking just like smashes the screen. But maybe you even still hear the Randy promo still happening because it's not going to stop it because it doesn't matter because it's in your head. I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
But you know, whatever it is, I think I'm really excited for wherever it goes. To be honest.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. Let's see.
I must be honest.
Yeah. That does bring us to the last segment. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about on Raw?
Not that I can think of. No.
I think we've done a pretty good job recapping both the shows this week. As we get to the final segment on Raw, you do have Miz coming out for his second title defense of the night, which means, for anyone keeping count, Miz has defended his title just as many times as Darby Allin has defended his own. Keep that in mind. So Miz defends his title against Bobby Lashley from the MMA. From MMA. Bobby Lashley. My man. Lash-ley. Lash-ley. Lash-ley.
Okay.
My man.
Okay.
Man of the hour.
All right.
Whose balls is sour?
The one and only.
The one and only. Remember when Bobby Lashley was having his butthole talk like Ace Ventura and getting married to Lana?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Remember how everyone on the internet said, well, this guy's career is ruined.
Yeah, he's come a long way.
He's definitely come a long way. That's what Lana said as well. But I will say, for everyone who's always saying that anything that happens to any of these wrestlers is career ending and that is it, there is no coming back. Bobby Lashley is your go-to example of there's a way to rebuild no matter what they give you, but there does seem to be a reward in loyalty and hard work. Bobby Lashley in a lumberjack match against The Miz, Mizzy Drip Drip, wins the world title, the WWE World Championship on Monday Night Raw, points to the sign. He's going to WrestleMania. This was an amazing moment. So good. And there were moments where I was like, are they going to do some shit where Bobby doesn't win? They had me confused. They had me questioning. They had me wondering.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they had me cheering when Bobby Lashley won. Go ahead, Kev. What do you think?
The whole time I was watching it, I was waiting for Morrison to jump in and attack Bobby Lashley, and you know, Miz is still the champion. You know,
yeah, get something.
Bobby wins by disqualification, yeah. But you know, I think it's cool. Obviously, it's a quick turnaround from Miz's title reign to now Bobby's. And I think it's great. I've always been a big Bobby fan, and I think it's great that he has it.
Lashley.
Even though Braun destroyed him, the Hurt Business now has the tag and the world. And
get the U.S. title on MVP.
Well, I was going to say, if MVP played his cards right, Riddle would be in the Hurt Business. But he didn't want to listen to any of his propositions.
That's a good point. That's a good point. MVP fucked
They
up.
would have had all the goal. Yeah.
Yep.
It would have been
bad for
the
business.
Undisputed era of Raw.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I thought it was awesome. I think so. Of course, the world is celebrating for Bobby Lashley. You can't knock this guy and his hard work.
Yes.
The issue I had with Miz becoming champion wasn't that Miz became the champion, and we talked about this. We talked about it on episode 1, I believe. No problems with Miz becoming champion. I do have a problem with overly transparent booking. And when you put the title on Miz and people's immediate reaction is, how funny is this? How many weeks till he loses it? Does he even hold it till the next pay-per-view? That's not the conversation I want for my champions. Even
Yeah.
champions who cheat to win. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because when you think about like Kevin Owens as a Universal Champion, he cheated in every match to get the win. But every match you're all like, how's he going to fucking pull out the win on this one? Where with Miz, the thought was, how long are they going to put off putting the belt on someone else? Because there's no way Miz is taking that belt to WrestleMania. And I thought that was shitty. I even said, I hope that he holds it all the way to Mania, just to be a little bit different. So the fact that dropped it to Bobby Lashley already, from a storyline perspective, meh. But from a respect to Bobby Lashley perspective, incredible. My only fear and concern here is that this is all to build up for Drew McIntyre to take the title off of Bobby Lashley at Mania, and that I'm not here for. If this whole thing is a pity party booking for Drew because we got to give Drew his moment that he didn't get last year, like he deserves more than everyone else, because you know what? You're not the only person crowned champion at WrestleMania in an empty arena. A lot of people did that, and a lot of people made the most of it. Other people came out bigger stars for it. And I think Drew did too. And they put so much backing behind Drew that they even started telling the story of the champion during the pandemic era and how tough has it been for him and how great he's been during this era of all eras, and been trying to elevate him above other champions, saying that he has done more and worked harder than literally any other champion ever because there's been no fans. I challenge that from a very basic standpoint of he wrestles probably a fourth of the amount of matches that any other champion has wrestled in any other given generation. However, my concern is that if this whole thing is just so Drew can get his win back at Mania, I think it's a huge disservice to Bobby Lashley, who deserves so much better. I want more than anything either Bobby Lashley to beat Drew and keep going after Mania, and Drew's going to be fine.
Yes.
Or I don't want him to even have a match with Drew McIntyre, to be honest. I know a lot of people are talking about Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. I know Bobby Lashley is already still talking about it. He was in interviews today saying, like, well, now I got something Brock wants. He always wants to be on top. So,
and I'd be interested in
100%
a
okay
Bobby
with that.
and Brock match.
Yeah.
You know, they've talked about it before, and, you know, like, I think it'd be great. Like, yeah, if this goes to Drew, it's just going to make me despise Drew even more.
Yes, it'll be. I think it'll be damaging to Drew, because that's the other thing. I think so many people are so happy for Bobby last night, us included, that I think that if Drew takes the title off Bobby at Mania in their first match back together or whatever, I think you're gonna have quite the uphill battle there. I think a lot of people are really happy for Bobby. I don't know that everyone is on this pity party train for Drew. Grim Reaper is saying in the chat, don't get me started on how the Money in the Bank winners have been devalued. More on that as we approach the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Which is true. I mean, they flopped this Money in the Bank around. You literally had 2 failed cash-ins before you even had the actual cash-in. And then the Money in the Bank winner loses the belt within a week, 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
Not loving that, because it does take a lot of shine off the Money in the Bank contract, where you for a while there we were thinking about it as a star maker contract. Whoever wins the Money in the Bank is going to be a big thing for quite a while. You know what I mean? Like this was a rocket ship. So I agree. This just goes to show that even somebody like The Miz, who has incredible credentials and has been around for an incredibly long time, forever. This guy has proven time and time again that he deserves to be there. He performs on a high level in everything that he does. 8-day champion.
Even if you hate him, he's willing to do some pretty stupid crap.
Yeah, I absolutely hate him. But I have a ton of respect for him. Because you can see what he does. You can see that he's been there. You can see he's not hurting people. He's not hurting himself. Like, the dude puts in the work. And you cannot deny that. So, it's, as much as I'm not entertained by him, I can still say he is a top-level athlete in the WWE for an extended period of time. He's been in the WWE longer than The Rock was. He's had a longer tenure than Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know what I mean? Like, he's hanging in there. And he's been overtly hated by most of everyone who watches the product for the entire time. And he wasn't exactly welcomed with open arms when he got there because of how he got there.
We'll never talk crap about it.
And he's never said a bad word about that company or anybody in it. So, ton of respect. Loads of respect. As much as I didn't care for him as a champion, I totally don't think he deserved 8-day championship, especially if all that was to protect Drew. If it comes down to, well, we just didn't want Drew to lose it that way, or to Bobby Lashley. Like, why couldn't he have just had a match with Bobby Lashley, lost it there, and then we move forward? If this was all to protect Drew, to give Drew a pity party at Mania, I don't know if it's going to do him any favors, to be honest.
Once again, I'm curious to see, first of all, how many fans are going to be at Mania. And
yeah, I think 25,000 or 30,000, something like that, somewhere in there.
Yeah. But without WWE hyping in their own crowd noise, I want to see how many people boo if Drew wins.
Yeah. 100%. I'm curious where they go with it. I know Drew obviously wants that, but I don't know. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. No, I just, I was just thinking about it. And yeah, I think if, personally, if I was there, and I'm not speaking for anyone but myself, but if Drew wins, I'd be booing like crazy.
Yeah. No, especially with a guy like Bobby Lashley as your holding champion. 100% I want Lashley to get a win there. Because here's the other thing. You guys want to talk about moments and WrestleMania moments. Drew had his. Like it or not, he beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania for the World Championship. He posed for pictures. He's gone on record to be like, it may be without very many people, but it's going to go down as a WrestleMania people will remember forever. Okay.
He wrote a book.
He wrote a book about it.
Yeah.
He wrote a goddamn book about it. He's had his moment. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve more moments, but I'm saying Bobby Lashley never had a moment.
Yeah. Bobby hasn't had a moment. Plus, look how quick they were to get rid of Kofi Mania.
Yeah, exactly.
So now they're going to do all this just for Drew? Yeah. Like I said, nothing against the guy personally. I don't know him. Never met him. But if he wins at Mania just to have his win in front of crowd, ugh.
Yeah.
Not happy. And for him still to be considered a face. Fucking
100%.
be the
He's
fucking
basic.
heel you are.
Yeah, be a heel. You're a heel. I'll tell you right now, Drew McIntyre beats Bobby Lashley, then we got a new Brock Lesnar on our hands.
Yeah.
But either way, whatever way you cut it, Bobby Lashley is your current the almighty champion of the WWE, and I couldn't be more happy for him, and I think it's fucking phenomenal, and it's fantastic. Something it's just kind of a neat side note. Someone listed out all the champions for WWE right now outside of NXT. I didn't look at NXT, so I'd have to look. There's not a single Caucasian who's a champion of that company right now, which is kind of neat when you think about it. For a company that's had so many troubles with.
What about Riddle?
Oh, Riddle's the U.S. champion. The rest of the champions, he's the only one.
Yeah, everyone
Right?
besides him.
Yeah, everyone besides him. Maybe the SmackDown Tag Champions. Was that because you got Bobby Roode and Ziggler? But the rest of them, I mean, both your world champions. You got your Universal, your World, your Intercontinental, the Raw Tag Champions. Actually, your NXT champion. Who's the North American champion right now? In NXT, I have no idea. Gargano. And then their tag champions is Oni and Danny. Either way, it listed a bunch of the champions, and there was very few that were even Caucasian because they were talking about their descents and stuff. But the women's tag champions are not white. It's just kind of cool. It's kind of cool for a company that for so long had only basically white champions across the board for years and decades, just to see that kind of branching out and for it to stop being a factor. You know what I mean? Like, one of the best conversations you can have is when that sort of stops being a conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's just cool. And then that actually makes Bobby Lashley one of 3 African-American champions So him, The Rock, and Kofi are the only ones listed in that group. So pretty cool. I just think it's cool because, we've talked about it before. We even talked about it when Kofi won.
What was it, Mark Henry champion?
He was not the WWE champion. He was heavyweight champion, which was that big gold belt.
Big gold one? All right.
Yeah, so the WWE championship's only been held by those three. But what's nice about it, as always, is as a fat, young, white kid, well, I'm Mexican, but I look white, but seeing a Mick Foley win as a kid affected me. I said, oh my God, you don't have to be He-Man to win this title. You know what I mean? So you just know that seeing somebody who looks like you as a kid makes a huge difference. So it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just another step in the right direction of having more and more people be inspired by these people who deserve to inspire the masses. And Bobby Lashley is nothing if not inspiring. That dude is he's like 44, 45. He's as old right now as Bob Backlund was when he came back for that second title reign back in like 94 or whatever. Isn't that wild?
Nowhere near our age, and we don't look anything like him.
Yeah. I mean, put a picture of Bobby Lashley next to Bob Backlund, and you go, they're the same age, right? What?
Bobby Lashley never ran for president.
Bobby Lashley has not ran for president, but don't count it out. Could be a mayor soon. You don't know. He's CEO of Hurt Business, man. He's got a whole business to worry about. So it's just a cool thing.
I was going to ask.
Cool. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, do you think we're going to get Bobby Lashley versus Miz at Fastlane?
No, I don't.
Like the
but
Miz
I don't know who we get at
sitting.
Fastlane.
Yeah, the Miz sitting there saying, "Hey, I had to defend the title twice in one night. This is bullshit."
I think you could easily get the Miz telling that story, but I don't feel like that's where you go. Because what's his best bet? To cheat to win, and that obviously comes up with a big problem, right? So even if he tries to outnumber Lashley has a Hurt Business. So even if Miz is like, hey, let's get some sort of no DQ so John Morrison can interfere, well, then Bobby Lashley has the Hurt Business, and then you're outnumbered again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't see how it would
So then
work. Go ahead.
How does Drew get the #1 contender spot then?
That's fucking Drew, man. He just Hulk Hogan's that shit. He just comes out like after Bret Hart's match and be like, you want me to go in there and take the title? Yeah, go do it.
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of people shitted on that WrestleMania, and as a kid, that was like one of my favorites.
You're such a dick. Such a heel fan. So good, dude. So good. But yeah, I love Bobby Lashley as a champion. Let's keep it going. Let's keep running it through. I want to see him champion through.
And he
He's
better
a
beat.
believable champ. Go ahead.
Yeah, he better beat Drew at Mania.
Yeah. I actually would love that. If it did turn out to be Drew and Bobby, I want Bobby to win.
Yeah, I was gonna say if that's the direction they're going.
Mm-hmm. But I'm 100% on board for Brock Lesnar coming back. And I'll say this.
Yeah, no, I'd be good for that too.
If Brock Lesnar comes back, he needs to have a full-on beard. I want quarantine Brock Lesnar. I don't want a nice, clean-cut looking Brock Lesnar. I want Brock Lesnar with a beard like he had in those last couple matches in UFC, where he looked a bit grizzled. Looks like he came right out of the mountain. He's like, oh, I work out with tree trunks. I don't use weights anymore. You're like, what? And he goes, I just lift carcasses and wood. I go, what? You know what I mean? Like, I work out by pushing my car around. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even think we would need Paul necessarily. You can just have a stare down between Brock and Bobby Lashley. I think it'd be enough to tell the story. Don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Have them spit at each other. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Remember that?
Dude,
Brock
that would have
Lesnar
been a
scream?
cool.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that would have been a cool match to have Brock go after Roman, even though we've seen it 100 times. But just having Paul in the middle of it.
In the middle of which one?
Roman and Brock.
Roman and Brock? Oh, just in general if
Yeah.
they got there? Yeah.
Just in general, yeah, yeah.
I also think that if you had Brock come over on Raw, you could have Paul Heyman on both shows and not be a big issue. Like, I think you could have Brock show up with Paul Heyman and be like, I'm the advocate for Brock Lesnar, but I am the counsel to Roman Reigns, and those two business ventures are not mutually exclusive and do not interfere with one another. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think you could easily do that if you wanted, but I don't think you have to. I think with Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, you got enough meat in the ring to get people to want to see some slapping. Let's get some slapping happening.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, congratulations to Bobby Lashley, champion of the world. May he reign. But I don't think I have anything else to add. Do you?
No.
All right. I do want to say real quick thank you to the Busted Open Nation podcast. They had me on over the weekend and had me assist with Front Row in his interview with Jared Fritz, the NWA referee. And it was a great time, and I appreciate that. And hopefully we'll be back. I was on for one other segment of showing off some collectibles, and I showed off just a few, but definitely not the best I got. So hopefully I can come back and show off a little bit more, do a little more of a collectible flex, as it were. Maybe we'll get you on there, Kev, to show off some of your boots you have.
I got boots.
You got boots, dude. But thank you to Bustin' Open Nation podcast for having me on. Thank you to Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast just for being out there, talking that shit that you talk. And hopefully we'll do a watch along with Fastlane when it comes up. Kev, I think I'm ready for last call. Are you ready for last call?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, guys. You can find us at WrestlingOnTheRocks.com. You can find our show on Twitter at WOTR The Show. You can find me at Ref Marsh. Over there, you got Kevlar on the Rocks with an X. Give us all a follow, the like, the reviews, the smashing of the buttons, as it were. Like I said, WrestlingOnTheRocks.com has all of the links to all of the things. Check it out. Get a shirt if you want, because we support pointless aggression. It's what sets our show apart from all these other shows. Guys, I think that's the last call.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.